The first reason that a person can be really tired all the time that we want to talk about today is mismanaging insulin. The body should be able to run off of glucose that comes from carbohydrates or sugars or even other ways that the body can make glucose. But when glucose runs out, the body should be able to run on fat. Fat is the backup fuel source. Here's the problem. When insulin goes too high, the body doesn't have the ability to access stored fat. That insulin blocks that ability. So when we eat carbohydrates that are really high carbohydrate foods, it can spike that insulin really high. So glucose can burn up in like an hour, and now you're out of that fuel source, but insulin can take a lot longer to come down. So when you're eating really starchy or high sugar or high carbohydrate or high processed junk food, it can really spike that insulin to a really high level that's going to take hours to come down. So when you burn out of that glucose, the insulin's saying, sorry about your luck, you can't access stored fat. As a matter of fact, I'm telling your body right now to store more fat. This is also why a lot of people have a hard time losing weight. Reason number two that energy could be low is oxygen utilization issues. The blood pH has a narrow parameter that it needs to stay between. And when the blood leans too far on this alkaline side, what's called the Bohr effect kicks in. What it says is when the blood leans too alkaline, oxygen can't leave the blood and get down to the tissues where it needs to be to use that oxygen. So the blood kind of holds the oxygen captive there in the bloodstream. Now the body can try to compensate this because CO2 or carbon dioxide that we exhale, that's acidic. The body can try to hold on to more CO2 by lowering the rate at which we breathe. So we're not exhaling as often, we're holding on to more CO2, which can help acidify that blood, raise the breath rate a little bit, and allow oxygen to get down to the tissues where it needs to be. If you run out of glucose and that fuel source is gone, but your body can't access the backup fuel source, how are you going to have any energy? Reason number three that a person can be wiped out all the time are digestive malfunctions. Our body can't really do anything with that food. Your body can't do anything with a peanut butter sandwich. That peanut butter sandwich needs to be broken down into vitamins and minerals and amino acids and glucose and all these resources that the body uses to function correctly. The problem is when we eat food, our stomachs need to make enough hydrochloric acid to break that food down. And then once that food is acidified correctly, when it leaves the stomach and goes into the duodenum, which is the first 10 inches of the small intestine, then the gallbladder squirts this alkaline bile down onto the acid product that left the stomach. And when this acid product meets this alkaline bile, it creates a sizzle. The problem is it's really common for someone not to be making enough stomach acid to really acidify that food and break it down correctly. And it's really common now for someone's bile to become too thick and sticky to flow correctly. So if either of those sides of digestion are not working correctly, you're not getting that sizzle and you're not accessing all the nutrients in that food.